everybody, it's Matt from Britical Saiyans here, and today I'm going to show you my red Syn Deck Profile. So leave any thoughts you have in the comments below at the once you've seen, and hit the sub button. So start off with, you start on the one side, the 1-star ball. You just switch it to rest mode, search your life or deck for 2 Dragon Balls, and then add them to your hand. And then when you got 6 of the Dragon Balls in your Z energy, or your life is at 4 or less, you get an energy back, and this guy to active mode. You flip him over, you attack, you get to draw a card, you activate main once per turn, you choose one of your Shadow Dragon cards, and up to one of your opponent's battle or units of cards, you get -15. So, pretty simple. Unisons, and the Z leader, which I'll go over now. We have the Rush Attack Vegeta. He's got Deflect, Auto, and his auto is when his card attacks, you use up to one mono red, mono red cards with 5k combo from your drop in a combo where its skill's negated, and then you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards or units and cards gets -15. So you get a free 5k combo and minusing something by 15, which is great. And he's got activate main once per turn. If you've got 4 or more Z energy, switch his card to active mode and you gain 10k in double strike and barrier. So you get 2 attacks out of him, and the second one being very vicious. And then we got the Z leader. So it's the cost 7 for the awakening. It's got double strike, and it has to go onto the awakened side of your leader, and your life has to be on 3 or less. He's got auto when he attacks, he draws a card. He's got activate main once per turn, where you can choose one of your Shadow Dragon battle cards, and up to one of your opponent's battle cards or units and cards to get -20k power. And then you may remove 6 Dragon Balls from your drop and play your Shadow Dragon from your hand. There's no restriction on the cost of that, because it says if you do, you play up to 1 red Shadow Dragon from your hand. So do what you will with that, as it were. Unison, we only have the 3 copies of Gogeta, because that's all I have. And I didn't want to pay out for another one. 3 is a good enough number though. I still find it works at 3. It's got a +2, so getting +2 and putting extra copies underneath if you see them, it's not easy to kill. Unless of course you're against Syn, in which case then he will die very quickly. But anyway, when he's played, you look at the top 3 and you just add a red card from those top 3 to your hand, and then you place the other 2 to the bottom of the deck in any order. +2, you play up to 1 red battle card with energy cost of 1 from your hand in rest mode. And he's got -4 as an activate battle against 15k in double strike. So powerful of a unison. So good. The extra cards. Right, so to start off with, I'm just going to, before I show the negates, I'm just going to show the obvious one for the deck. Here's your 6 cracked Dragon Balls. So you get these, you play them, you draw a card, and then you go to your Z energy. The negates for the deck, we've got 2 after image technique, which is your sparking one. You can rip a life, you've got 5 or less life. It doesn't technically negate the attack, it just gives your leader 40k power and minuses something by 10k. We got 1 minus energy power ball, which is just pay 1, negate the attack, and then additionally if you've got a red Shadow Dragon leader, you choose all your opponent's battle cards to get -10k. And then we've got the blocker negate, so you got 5 or less life, you can rip a life to play it instead of paying a 2, and negate the attack and play a blocker. So those are the negates for the deck. And then we got a one-off Realm of the Gods Ultra Instinct. So depending on whose turn it is, depends what effect you get. You get 10k regardless, but then if it's your turn, you choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost greater than the current energy, and it gets -30k. And then if it's your opponent's turn, you draw a card and you gain 5k for the battle. On to the battle cards then. So for the 1 costs, there is only the 1 cost and 2 copies of it, and that is the Broly Crown of Retribution. So when you play this card, he also has a permanent now, by the way, where he can't be played off skills. So that basically, that was the one thing people used to do with it until he got the permanent. So it's not just an auto now, he does have a permanent on him. That came in towards the end of October, I think it was. I can't quite remember. But anyway, so when he's played, your opponent's got 2 or more energy in active mode. You look at their hand and you choose a battle card with 20k power or less and make them discard it. For the 2 costs, which is the bulk of the deck, I'll just show you the super combo choice first. Well, super combos, should I say, sorry. We got 3 Reddits, which is if you've got 4 less life, you choose a card from your hand, put it at the bottom of your deck, draw 2 and gain 10k. And then I got Whis as well, which is if your leader's red or yellow, you combo with it, you can choose something to get minus 10k. It's just more minusing for the deck. And so you don't have to use as many cards in hand to combo sometimes. I know it can happen. You can still use a lot of cards, but it's one of those. It makes it that little bit harder, and it also can kill things as well if they're weak enough. And then we got 4 copies of Oceanus and 4 copies of Haze Shenron. The reason why I'm showing these 2 together is because they basically work exactly the same. The only difference between them is the activate main, Haze and activate battle. But they both have the permanent. Your leader's Shadow Dragon card, his cost goes down by 1. When it's played, you draw a card and then you get a Cracked Dragon Ball from your deck and put it straight to use the energy. The Haze Shenron is an activate battle where you can either send him from the battle area or discard him from your hand to drop and give one of your Shadow Dragons critical. The Oceanus is an activate main, which does the same thing, but she gives something barrier. These ones are going to show together as well because they're very similar. So I got 3 copies of the Ice Shenron and 4 copies of the Nova Shenron. I've favoured having the draw power over the crits. This ratio works for me, so it's just why I've done it. They both have the auto limit 1, where if your opponent has 2 more energy and is placed in the drop by one of your skills, your Shadow Dragon skills, you can play it back from the drop and it gains a crit. And then Nova does the same thing, but he draws a card. But then they both have to activate main by paying the red. If your leader card is a Z leader or you have 6 or more Z energy, you can play it from your hand for 1. But yeah. And then the last 2 cost is the Supernatural. It's got a permanent like the Oceanus and the Haze with the reducing the cost. So it's a nice one to play off the Gogeta. I mean, even these are good to play off the Gogeta as well afterwards, just because it's just like, well, I have +2 and draw a card, and then you put a body on the board for your effects to pop if you've got nothing else to pop. But when he's played, you just look at top 5 and you add a Shadow Dragon range cost of 4 or less, or a specified cost 2 unison. So, which is why I know Gogeta is also very good for this, because he's searchable. Only 1 3-cost a deck, because it can only be at 1 now, and that's the Yamcha. It's your free can't play if you've got a unison in play. When it's played, you -2 things by 15. And then we got Topo. This is into the 4 cost now, which I've got quite a few of these ones. Ish. So Topo Righteous Aid is a counter attack, you negate attack and you play him. It costs 2 during the opponent's turn. You discard a red card from your hand, and then your opponent has to discard 2 cards if they want to attack for the rest. If they want to attack with anything additionally after this card is played. The other 4 cost, one of the other 4 costs, is we got 4 copies of the Syn Shenron Dread Destroyer. So he's got double strike, 20k power, he's got the auto of when he attacks, you choose one of your Shadow Dragon cards and KO it, which then of course trigger your KO effects on the other ones. And then you choose one of your opponent's battle cards or your instant cards gets -20k. He also has the activate main, limit 1, where if you got the 6 Z energy or a red Z leader, you get to play this and you get to draw a card. That's his one, is more draw power, he replaces himself, which is great. And then we have 3 copies of the Ray Shenron. So this is just a negate for the deck, but it's a very restrictive one because you have to meet quite a tight constriction point during the game. He's got unique, critical, blocker, and then counter attack, limit 1, negate attack and play it. But he's got the permanent of, this is where the construction bit comes in. So you can activate his counter skill from your hand if you are on your Z leader. Why I'm saying it's a bit awkward is because you have to be on 3 or less life to go into your Z leader. So you're getting yourself on death's door, as it were. But you get a free negate out of it. So that's why I think Rage is really well worth using. And 3 is a good number, I'd say. Obviously, if you do this down to your own personal preferences as well, whether you want him at 4, whether you want him at 2, 1, or just don't run him at all. But bear in mind he is that free negate. And then to round it off, the last card of the deck is 3 copies of the Omega Shenron. Do only have 3 copies of this. I would like the 4th just for consistency purposes, but 3 is still a good enough number. Still cope, still find it, it's not a problem. So if you only got 3, don't worry about it. So he's got Deflect and Triple Strike. He's got a permanent of when his power would be reduced by one of your skills. Oh no, sorry, when his cost power would be reduced, it doesn't matter if it's your skill or not. He gains 5k instead. And then that's until the gate skill will just start at the next turn. He's got activate main limit 1 by paying 2 red. If you lead a card, it's a Shadow Dragon card, or your Z leader, you can pay 2 to bring him out. Then it's activate battle, it's just what makes him disgusting. It's once per turn, choose up to one of your choose up to one battle card or unison card gets minus 3k power for each of your Z energy. Additionally, if you're Z leader, it gets minus 30k, which in a matchup, yes, I messed up with slightly. Well, I could have saved some combo, but that was me being a tit, really. Yeah, there you go, guys. So yeah, thanks for watching. Leave any thoughts in the comments below. Hit the sub button, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.